It's just another normal evening in Pattaya. Or what looks normal. For almost 2 years during the coronavirus pandemic, the capital of sex tourism was all but shut down. Now the red light's back on.
Wolfgang Rill, 74, is out with Tick, 45. He met her in a bar. When you see a hooker, a prostitute in Germany, you pay twice or 3 times as much and get half the service, or even less.
But there isn't any prostitution here officially.
There are around 60,000 sex workers in Pattaya. Ohm is one of them. She says that 4 years ago she had a relationship with a German man and got pregnant. He left her. She works as a prostitute to earn a living for herself and her family.
What I would like most is to get out of the job. But what should I do? There's no work at all in my village. The corona lockdown just made everything even worse. I've got to earn money before I can leave here.
We looked into the dark side of the red light industry and we followed signs that not just sex tourists but German pedophiles have returned to Pattaya since the city reopened after the COVID-19 pandemic.
Wolfgang Rill and his current escort are at the beach in Pattaya. She introduces herself as Tick. He wouldn't say he's a sex tourist as much as a Pattaya lover. Wolfgang has made a name for himself as the author of books telling erotic tales of Thailand. And unlike most other German men, he has no problem speaking about it openly, in front of our camera. Tick agreed to be filmed as well. Wolfgang's been coming to Pattaya for decades. Why? Sometimes even he finds it difficult to explain.
What is it really? It's so fascinating about this. I could say the girls here are more feminine, friendlier. They're more affectionate and smile more. They simply enjoy life more than women do in Germany.
But it's clear to both sides that this is a business relationship, right?
I think it's not just a business relationship. There's still the other side, the side with feelings. And they have to be there too, or the whole thing wouldn't work. Tick, do you see it the same way? Is it like a business a little bit? Or how do you think about it? You can also answer in Thai language if you like.
Tick prefers to remain silent. What's about money? Money is very important. She barely speaks English. Yes, and I was just about to say that obviously communication is pretty limited, so it's difficult to speak a relationship between equals. Her English is pretty awful, but we're working on it. And she's very diligent. I'm teaching her. And it's surprising how few words or how little speech you need to have in a relationship like this. We're actually supporting the women of Isan, women who live in poverty and would otherwise be working in rice paddies.
In northern Thailand. And don't forget, we are the people who keep the system running, who keep prostitution alive. Prostitution as a form of developmental aid. Wolfgang says he doesn't really have any ethical qualms about that. He's fine with an older man paying for love and sex with a younger woman.
To us it seems as if Thomas feels like an ambassador for Pattaya, tasked with defending the city's image. Many think this is the world's biggest whorehouse, but it's not. There's far more to Pattaya. The erotic scene in Pattaya no longer makes up the whole city. Instead, it's restricted to 3 relatively small areas. But if I don't go there, then I don't see it. But it certainly dominates the downtown district. No matter where you look, there are bars with girls sitting and waiting. Yes, fine. But the girls here in Asia generally wear fewer clothes because of the heat. That doesn't necessarily have to do with prostitution. Even their school uniforms include short skirts because it's so hot and schools don't have air conditioning. But you can't tell me there aren't any prostitutes in Pattaya. Only girlfriends. There aren't any prostitutes. The difference legally is that a prostitute names a certain price for a service ahead of time. That only happens here on rare occasions. But it's still paying for sex, right? Yes, certainly. But that's fine.
Pray for pedophile predators. The children play games that teach them how they can protect themselves from attacks in the red light district. They also learn which body parts should not be touched at all by strangers. The organization stresses that there's a big difference between adult prostitution and child abuse. But there are links. We ask if they believe Western travel companies are partly to blame. Yes, definitely, because for majority of the tourists, they are given certain instructions that you have to go get the visa like this. But one thing that has never been in the picture of the tourists is that there are certain moral and traditional issues that you have to respect. Even though Thailand is very well known for sex tourism, it doesn't mean that you can behave wherever you like, or to whomever you like. When you have interaction with local people, they are not prostitutes. We have to educate the children that that is not acceptable here in the normal and functional society here.
We've been invited to a police press conference in Pattaya. Thailand's Deputy Chief of Police has traveled from Bangkok to report on the latest progress in the fight against illegal sex studios and child prostitution. He tells us that large parts of the illegal sex industry in Pattaya are in the hands of the Chinese mafia. We use the opportunity to learn more about the man from Frankfurt in custody. You recently announced that the Cobra Bar in Pattaya was closed because underage prostitutes worked there. You said that a German customer is not a woman. The women are just a commodity to be treated, and it gets bigger and bigger. And all the people there are just adjust. It's like an industry. Then maybe it's not such a good idea to hang around this livestock market. Correct. In the future, I'd advise anyone against going there.
After the interview, we still had unanswered questions, the most urgent being, why was this man not under investigation in Germany? Prosecutors with the appropriate authorities said they hadn't been made aware of the case. That's in spite of the fact that Bangkok has 2 liaison officers from Germany's Federal Criminal Police Office who are usually informed about any investigation against German citizens. The court in Pattaya explained that the suspect had departed for a business trip, which he had been permitted to do. Contrary to court orders, he hadn't returned to Thailand afterwards. The trial is now on hold until the arrest warrant can be executed. Our question as to why German authorities were not informed remains unanswered. That leaves the question of what Germany's largest travel company has to say about this hotel in Pattaya. TUI replied stating that they hadn't known about the conditions within the hotel. They had instead relied on a database of available beds. They added that they had now ensured it was no longer possible to book a room at Selina Place on the TUI platform. We pointed out that TUI's website was marketing many other hotels right in the middle of Pattaya's red light district, and that serious cases of child abuse were on the rise there. The company replied again, "We've gone back and double-checked the hotels on offer and have blocked our database interface with hotels in the district in question with immediate effect. Additionally, we have advised the databases we work with not to include these hotels in their portfolios and to verify to us that they meet ECPAT criteria." ECPAT is an internationally active children's rights organization. In Germany, its headquarters are located in Freiburg.
Jenna Schremp and her colleagues have been reminding travel companies of their social responsibilities for decades. Most have since signed voluntary commitments against child prostitution. She says it's an encouraging sign that TUI, following our research, removed all the hotels in Pattaya's red light district from its program. She adds that it's problematic that German travel companies are earning money from sex tourism at all. I find that a bit surprising. Quality management is a big thing for all private enterprises. It shouldn't be so hard to keep an eye on issues like prostitution and threats to child welfare. What your research clearly shows is that the threat of perpetrators being discovered is far too low. They have nothing to fear, and that has to change. We won't be able to prevent all crimes committed against children. The criminals have too many pernicious strategies for gaining access to children, to manipulate them and make them dependent, but we have to make it harder for them. What about the role of the German police? How is it possible that no investigations have been taken up against a man who's accused of abusing children and who fled from Thailand to Germany? It's shocking, isn't it? But it's because clearly there was no exchange of information. If no official charges are filed in Germany, then no investigation can take place. You've touched on a real sore spot there. Why haven't the Thai authorities notified the German liaison officers in Bangkok? That would be in line with German law.